Hey guys, how's it going? It is Kyle here with another Guarding Tales video. And in today's video, I want to talk about a potential major mistake you could make here in the training room that's going to impact your progress for quite a while. And there's a couple of things about this that I want to discuss. And I also feel like the UI system doesn't do a clear job of explaining just how big of a deal this is. So before we get in the video, if we can get a like on this video, that'd be awesome. Also subscribe to the channel for more Guardian Tales content. And with that out of the way, let's get into the video here. So the thing I'm talking about is this. When it comes to equipment, and before this, I don't want to remove this from the shop because to show the example, because look how impactful it is when you make this choice. If the equipment is removed from this slot, it takes 10 days to reuse the slot. That is so much worse than this, where it's just literally, if I remove her, it's going to be 300 gems if I want to expedite this by 24 hours. Whereas, or I could just wait a day. Whereas when it comes to the weapon, literally it's 10 days. That's insane. And I'm assuming there might be a way to expedite it with gems, but I don't even want to find out how much that is. If anyone knows exactly how much that is, let us know down in the comments. But this is such a big deal when it comes to making your choice. And they say that there's like some kind of punishment if you want to switch it out, but it's not clear at all that it's literally a 10x difference between the character that you put in the training room versus the weapon. Also, a potential mistake is not putting a good weapon in this. And the things that I look for in a weapon, when it comes to Camille, he's just so broken that it's pretty much a no-brainer, at least for me, because I had no limit breaks on this weapon, to put this in for him, because he's just such a game-changing character that you can use in so many different aspects of the game, that having him as strong as possible is usually pretty smart. But if you don't have him, or you already have him max limit broken, because he's also a really good character to just max limit break because he's so good. So it's kind of, if you have nothing invested in him, definitely in the training room. If you have everything invested in him, he's good enough to where that's totally worth it. But the thing I would look into is finding weapons. Not only do you want a character that's very, like, they used a ton in this, but you also want to put a weapon in here that is something you do not want to option change, because you want to find something that has a big variance in the stats, because if I wanted to roll this weapon, for example, on Clara, this is going to be a lot of option change stones, or I have to get incredibly lucky to actually get a good roll for this weapon. Whereas there's other weapons that are not nearly as impactful on their stats. One that I can think of is going to be Lynn, for example. Like, her stats can only go up to 10. So it's 10% HP, 10% defense, 10% skill damage, 10% weapon skill. This is, the variance here is so much smaller that if I don't get this, like a good roll of this, it's really not the end of the world. But if I don't get a good roll on my Clara versus someone else that did, I'm going to be at a major disadvantage here. So I'm going to be more encouraged to want to training room this piece of gear instead of investing a crazy amount of resources to actually get it up to par with what the average will probably be if you actually care about this character. So that's definitely something to keep in mind when it comes to this. Another example would be Camille himself. If you're not putting him in the training room, I think another good example of a really popular character that's used a ton is Future Princess here. My version of it, there's a lot left to be desired here. We got a 15, a 20%, and another 20% potentially, and then a 5 out of 15. So there's a lot of variance when it comes to her as well, and she's used so much that Liberator is a really good choice to put in the training room too. It's just mine's max limit broken, so I get way more value out of putting it out of Camille than I would, say, Future Princess, at least in my situation. So everyone's situation is going to be different based on the heroes they have, the ones they use the most, stuff like that. But that's pretty much two concepts real quick on to avoid here, because they're actually really impactful, especially this 10 days one here. So it's just absolutely crazy. And then the other ones, definitely is going to make a big difference for you, because it's going to change the direction of who you're actually going to want to max limit break now that this exists. The people that have already max limit broken and tried to roll for gear that is not good, that would be better in the training room. That training, we didn't know that it was going to be a weapon. So totally understandable if you rolled for those weapons. This is more for people in the future that haven't actually, now have the choice of putting a weapon in the training room versus getting to roll it. So that's pretty much it. Just want to make this a quick video, and with that, guys, I'm out. Peace.